It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
We're well loved in Orlais. Say the words and Empress Celine will send her support.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corifeus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corifeus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corifeus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corifeus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
Good of Corifeus to make it easy to find him. If he's hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we finish him.
But what is Corifeus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corifeus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Eluvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corifeus seeks.
It's beautiful, in its way.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds, untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corifeus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Eluvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Eluvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one, I can describe it no better. For a time, I was safe from those who hunted me, but only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Eluvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each Eluvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corifeus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corifeus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Eluvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corifeus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon. Greetings, Inquisitor.
With an Eluvian, Corifeus could cross into the Fade in the flesh.
Indeed, the Inquisitor can attest that these artifacts still work, if one knows how to use them.
What happens when Corifeus enters the Fade?
Why, he will gain his heart's desire and take the power of a god. Or, and this is more likely, the lunatic will unleash forces that tear the world apart.
I won't allow it. I can't.
Indeed, should Corifeus succeed, do not doubt you would be first to feel his holy wrath.
Pardon me, but does this mean everything's lost unless we get to the Eluvian before him?
Corifeus has a head start, no matter how quickly our army moves.
We should gather our allies before we march.
Can we wait for them? We should send our spies ahead to the Arbor Wilds.
Without support from the soldiers, you'd lose half of them.
Then what should we do?
You follow the orders of your Inquisitor. All three of you. Josephine, have our allies send scouts to meet us in the wilds. Leliana, your fastest agents will join them. Together, we'll have enough spies to slow down Corifeus' army until Cullen's soldiers arrive.
Such confidence. But the Arbor Wilds are not so kind to visitors. Old elven magic lingers in those woods.
We'd be remiss to not take advantage of your knowledge, Lady Morrigan. Please, lend us your expertise.
'Tis why I came here, although it is good to see its value recognized.
Any further instructions, Inquisitor?
The Inquisition began as a handful of soldiers. Thanks to you, we're now a force that will topple a self-proclaimed god. I could ask for no finer counsel, no better guidance.
I speak for all of us when I answer. We could ask for no finer cause.
We'll hound Corifeus in the wilds before he can find the temple or this Eluvian.
Inquisitor.
How goes the battle, Captain?
The Red Templars fall beneath our blades, your worship. Commander Cullen says they're nearly finished. Our scouts saw Corifeus traveling towards an elven ruin to the north. We can clear you a path through his armies.
Do only what you must. We need enough people for a celebration when we get back to Skyhold.
We will not fail you, my lady, no matter what comes. Andraste guide you, Inquisitor.
I wonder, is it Andraste your soldiers invoke during battle, or does a more immediate name come to their lips?
They show me respect, Morrigan. No one mistakes me for the Maker.
True. You are far more likely to come to their aid than a chantry fable. But I digress. If your scouts report accurately, I believe these ruins to be the temple of Mythal.
Which is?
A place of worship out of elven legend. If Corifeus seeks it, then the Eluvian he covets lies within. Let us hope we reach this temple before the entire forest is reduced to ash.
Listen to how close the fighting's gotten. It will be worse ahead.
If the soldiers aren't careful with their fires, they'll do Corifeus' work for him.
Do you sense the magic crackling? Something more powerful than the Red Templars stirs.
were Grey Wardens. They must be the last of those enslaved at Adamant.
If they are forced to obey him, death will be a blessing.
There, ahead. A camp of Red Templars.
Watch out. They've posted archers on the walls.
By elves.
It seems this temple of Mythal is not deserted after all.
Perhaps these creatures are the reason few return from the Arbor Wilds.
There. That must be the Temple of Mythal.
Be ready. Corypheus will be...
They still think to fight us, Master.
These are but remnants. They will not keep us from the Well of Sorrows.
Well of Sorrows.
Be honored. Witness death at the hands of a new god.
Cannot be! Across the bridge, now!
At last, Mythal's sanctum. Let us proceed before Corypheus interferes.
You said Corypheus wanted an Eluvian, but he mentioned a Well of Sorrows. Which is right?
I am uncertain of what he referred to.
You were guessing. Corypheus might not be after this Eluvian. It might not even be here.
Yes, I was wrong. Does that please you? Whatever the Well of Sorrows might be, Corypheus seeks it, and thus you must keep it from his grasp.
Let's find this well before Corypheus's people do. I want to know how Corypheus returned to life. We saw him die.
And his life force passes on to any blighted creature, darkspawn, or Grey Warden.
Then Corypheus cannot die. Destroy his body and he will assume another.
We'll find a way to stop him once we're done here.
'Tis strange. Archdemons possess the same ability, and still the Grey Wardens are able to slay. It appears the temple's magics are still strong.
Is this Elven? Does it say anything about this Well of Sorrows?
Atishol vir Abalasan. It means enter the path of the Well of Sorrows.
There is something about knowledge, respectful or pure. Shivenen. 'Tis all I can translate. That it mentions the well is a good omen.
At least we know the Well of Sorrows was important.
Supplicants to Mythal would have first paid obeisance here. Following their path may aid entry.
Perform a ritual to appease elven gods? Long dead or no, I don't like it.
If need be, unless you wish to turn back. Do not step any place you have stepped before. There can be no vacillation. This is where petitioners walked the path of their gods.
It is where they paid fealty to the gods. I have seen it, in the Fade. Only the reverent were permitted to touch this ground, and only in solemn contemplation.
Let us see what awaits. I see the Red Templars have already encountered the temple's guardians.
They hurt themselves for years to get stronger, but they still die so easily.
Perhaps we shall fare better.
Hold them off!
Come on, we might catch them.
Hold a moment. While they rush ahead, this leads to our true destination. We should walk the petitioner's path as before.
People are dying outside while we stand here. If we use the tunnel, more of our soldiers can flee.
In this case, I must agree with the witch. This is ancient ground, deserving of our respect.
You see the urgency? We cannot find the Well of Sorrows unprepared.
We don't need to reach the well first if we stop them before they find it.
Reach the well before they do and their plan is ended.
And your plan?
There is a danger to the natural order. Legends walked Thedas once, things of might and wonder. Their passing has left us all the lesser. Corifeus would squander the ancient power of the well. I would have it restored.
I wasn't expecting your answer to be so romantic.
Trust me, your surprise is matched only by my own. Mankind blunders through the world, crushing what it does not understand. Elves, dragons, magic. The list is endless. We must stem the tide, or be left with nothing more than the mundane. This I know to be true. I read more in the first chamber than I revealed. It said a great boon is given to those who use the Well of Sorrows, but at a terrible price.
What exactly did that altar say about the Well of Sorrows?
Like most elven writing, it was insufferably vague. The term I deciphered was Halam Shivanas, the sweet sacrifice of duty. It implies the loss of something personal for duty's sake, yet for those who served at this temple, a worthwhile trade.
Did you not trust me enough to tell me about this price when you read it?
I hoped to find more information. If I intended to cheat you, I would have feigned ignorance entirely. My priority is your cause, but if the opportunity arises to save this well, I am willing to pay the cost.
And gain what?
That is what we must discover. The rituals may point the way. Will you abandon these rituals, Inquisitor? Think carefully. There is no return once we leap after the Templars. Will you abandon these rituals, Inquisitor? Carefully. There is no return once we leap after the Templars. Indeed. Time to proceed to the next ritual, I should think. Will you abandon these rituals, Inquisitor? Think carefully. There is no return once we leap after the Templars. We are close. There is but one more path to follow.
Everything is lit.
The whispers are louder.
Come, let us see if the doors have opened. Yes?
Are you certain Corypheus is using the power of the Blight to make himself immortal?
Perhaps you forget. I was in Ferelden during the Fifth Blight. I have seen a true archdemon rage. How Corypheus gained the power to send his soul into blighted bodies, that is the real question.
Will answering that question let us destroy Corypheus for good?
Perhaps. I would suggest first dealing with the well. If Corypheus obtains it, any chance of success could be lost.
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves descended from the ancients, having resided here since before the fall of Arlathan. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
If they keep records, it could change everything we thought we knew about history.
It is thrilling, no? To discover an era thought lost forever has possibly thrived in the shadows. We may, however, find these elves reluctant to part with their long-kept secrets.
I want to discuss the well again.
Oh, I see. An opportunity to use the well may not even arise. I understand this. All I meant to suggest is that, if it does, I be the one to do so. I am willing to accept the consequences.
You would pay the price for this, and you don't even know yet what it does.
We know Corifeus seeks the well and believes it valuable. We also know it to be guarded jealously, the last remnant of a culture thought dead and gone. So yes, I would take my chances, if you permit it.
What if I don't permit it? What then?
What would you propose? Leave it be? Allow another to find and take it? Someone worse, perhaps, than Corifeus?
You're better than Corifeus.
I am. Have I proven myself so unworthy of trust? The discussion may be moot. We cannot know. I only ask you to consider.
You said you want to preserve old powers. To what end? What will you do with them?
There is a struggle to control the world's future path. Can you not see it? History haunts us, Inquisitor. It seeks to resurface. Corifeus is but the first to arise. For all the evil that was, there is also good. I will fight for it. I must.
How do you know the Well of Sorrows isn't a source of evil? After all, Corifeus seeks it.
A fair point. We cannot know for certain. Yet.
I don't want you to be so eager for this unknown power you ignore its dangers, Morrigan.
I'm not a child grasping after a toy. I understand the risk of what I seek. Let us turn our attention to hunting your enemies, shall we? Discussion of the well can wait. Yes?
Do you know what this part of the temple was used for?
It may have served as a chamber of reflection, perhaps to contemplate the righteousness of one's cause. More importantly, I suspect none were permitted beyond this area without a priest. Ancient texts claim Mythal passed judgment in the flesh, but 'twas surely the priests who proclaimed rulings here.
Why did the ancient elves insist on so many rites?
We may safely assume one did not petition high priests for Mythal's justice by strolling up and knocking. I see no more insufferable ceremony here than in a chantry.
You said this Mythal was worshipped as a goddess.
So one assumes. What is a god but a being of immense power? The dread old gods were nothing more than dragons, after all. They rise as archdemons, and they die. Perhaps Mythal was a powerful elf, a ruler among her kind. History often plays storyteller with facts.
You admit lack of knowledge, and yet dismiss her so readily?
I do not dismiss her. I question her supposed divinity. One need not be a god to have value. Truthfully, I'm uncertain Mythal was even a single entity. The accounts are varied.
There are varied accounts of Mythal.
In most stories, Mythal rights wrongs while exercising motherly kindness. Let fly your voice to Mythal, deliverer of justice, protector of sun and earth alike. Other paint her as dark, vengeful. Pray to Mythal and she would smite your enemies, leaving them in agony.
More Dalish tales, I assume.
If you know more about this, Solus, speak.
The oldest accounts say Mythal was both of these, and neither. She was the mother, protective and fierce. That is all I will say. This is not a place to stir up old stories.
Whatever the truth, all accounts of Mythal end the same. Exiled to the beyond with her brethren.
What do you mean, exiled?
Tricked by the Dread Wolf, as all the elven gods were said to be, trapped in a land beyond the Fade. Many Dalish believe this is why the elves fell from grace, and their gods did not save them. Or perhaps they were simply rulers slain by Tevinter. Who can say?
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
Is that even possible? How?
With magic, anything is possible. Whatever the truth, the Guardians successfully kept the temple a secret. They must kill all who enter, even the Dalish. A more sensible question might be, why?
Let's continue.
As you wish. Yes?
Let's continue.
As you wish. Tis not what I expected. What was this chamber used for?
We're being watched.
Venavis. You are unlike the other invaders. You stumble down our paths at the side of one of our own. You bear the mark of magic, which is familiar. How has this come to pass? What is your connection to those who first disturbed our slumber?
They are my enemies, as well as yours.
I am called Abelas. We are sentinels, tasked with standing against those who trespass on sacred ground. We wake only to fight, to preserve this place. Our numbers diminish with each invasion. I know what you seek. Like all who have come before you, you wish to drink from the Vira Belasan.
The place of the Way of Sorrows. He speaks of the well.
It is not for you. It is not for any of you.
So, you're elves from ancient times, before the Tevinter Imperium destroyed Arlathan.
The Shemlen did not destroy Arlathan. We Elven warred upon ourselves. By the time the doors to this sanctuary closed, our time was over. We awaken only when called, and each time find the world more foreign than before. It is meaningless. We endure. The Vera Balasan must be preserved.
What is this Vera Balasan exactly?
It is a path, one walked only by those who toiled in Mythal's favor.
He speaks of priests, perhaps.
More than that, you need not know.
Solus, perhaps he'll listen to you.
What shall I say, Inquisitor? Shall I sway him from a millennia of service by virtue of our shared blood? He clings to all that remains of his world, because he lacks the power to restore it.
We did not come here to fight you, nor to steal from your temple.
I believe you. Trespassers you are, but you have followed rites of petition. You have shown respect to Mythal. If these others are enemies of yours, we will aid you in destroying them. When this is done, you shall be permitted to depart. And never return.
This is our goal, is it not? There is no reason to fight these sentinels.
Consider carefully. You must stop Corifeus, yes, but you may also need the well for your own.
I accept your offer.
You will be guided to those you seek. As for the Vera Balasan, it shall not be despoiled. Even if I must destroy it myself.
No!
Morrigan! This would be our guide.
Mythal asked.
That's helpful, since Morrigan chased off on her own.
She seeks to protect the Well of Sorrows.
She turned into a bird.
This place looks untouched.
The entire temple must have looked like this long ago. How could the elves pour such devotion into this nonsense?
We can always ask our hosts.
I will leave that to you.
Penshra, Gilas Velathan.
I believe she would prefer that we remain close.
Just a quick look around. The Sentinels are holding off the Red Templars.
They're dying faster than they wanted to.
Wir sumiel.
Tough bastard. A day's march, hours of fighting, and still fierce as dragons. The Chantry never knew what it was throwing away.
Samson, sir, watch out!
Inquisitor. You and those elf things don't know when to stop. You've hunted us half across Thedas. I should have guessed you'd follow us into this hole.
I spoke with your Tranquil, Maddox. He sacrificed himself for your cause.
I told him not to. He died as one of us then. One of the faithful. Corifeus chose me twice. First as his general, now as the vessel for the Well of Sorrows. You know what's inside the well? Wisdom. The kind of wisdom that can scour a world. I give it to Corifeus, that he can walk into the Fade without your precious anchor.
What's your part in it? What's a vessel?
What else empties a well? I'll carry its power to Corifeus. One more task entrusted to me. Being force-fed Chantry lyrium was good for something. This armor makes me a living fortress, mind and body. I won't forget a word of the well's knowledge. Corifeus will be unstoppable.
Once Corifeus is that powerful, you and your soldiers will just slow him down.
You dare say that to my face? After you butchered my men? You're no match for Corifeus. Even if you drink from the well, you'll never master its wisdom as he could. This is the strength that Chantry tried to bind. But it's a new world now, with a new god. So, Inquisitor, how will this go?
Power's all well and good, until it's taken away.
What did you do? What did you do? My armor. It's gone. The lyrium. I need it! Kill them all! Take it from Corifeus. You mustn't.
He's still breathing.
We can take him back to Skyhold for judgment.
You heard his parting words, Inquisitor. The elf seeks to destroy the Well of Sorrows.
So the sanctum is despoiled at last.
You would have destroyed the well yourself, given the chance.
To keep it from your grasping fingers. Better it be lost than bestowed upon the undeserving.
Fool. You'd let your people's legacy rot in the shadows.
Corifeus needed Samson to use the well. Without him, there's no vessel to claim it.
The moment we leave, he will send more forces to secure this place. The well clearly offers power, Inquisitor. If that power can be turned against Corypheus, can you afford not to use it?
Do you even know what you ask? As each servant of Mythal reached the end of their years, they would pass their knowledge on through this. All that we were, all that we knew, it would be lost forever.
It's better that knowledge remain in the well, never passed on. You'd rather destroy it.
There are other places, friend, other duties. Your people yet linger.
Elven such as you?
Yes, such as I.
You have shown respect to Mythal, and there is a righteousness in you I cannot deny. Is that your desire? To partake of the Vira Belasan as best you can? To fight your enemy?
Not without your permission.
One does not obtain permission. One obtains the right. The Vira Belasan may be too much for a mortal to comprehend. Brave it if you must. But know you this. You shall be bound forever to the will of Mythal.
Bound to a goddess who no longer exists, if she ever did.
Bound as we are bound. The choice is yours.
Is it possible this Mythal might still exist?
Anything is possible.
Elven legend states that Mythal was tricked by Fen'Harel and banished to the Beyond.
Elven legend is wrong. The Dread Wolf had nothing to do with her murder.
Murder? I said nothing of...
She was slain, if a god truly can be. Betrayed by those who destroyed this temple. Yet the Vira Belasan remains. As do we. That is something.
Are you leaving the temple?
Our duty ends. Why remain?
There is a place for you, Lethaline, if you seek it.
Perhaps there are places the Shamlan have not touched. It may be that only Uthenera awaits us. The blissful sleep of eternity never to awaken, if fate is kind.
You could come with us. Fight Corypheus. He killed your people.
We killed ourselves. Long ago.
Malas Amalin Nahalam Abalas. His name, Abalas, means sorrow. I said, I hoped he finds a new name.
You'll note the intact Eluvian. I was correct on that count, at least.
Is it still a threat? Can Corypheus use it to travel the Fade?
You recall when I took you through my Eluvian, I said each required a key? The well is the key. Take its power, and Mythal's last Eluvian will be no more use to Corypheus than glass. I did not expect the well to feel so... hungry.
Let's not be reckless. I don't want anyone hurt.
I am willing to pay the price the well demands. I am also the best suited to use its knowledge in your service.
Or more likely to your own ends?
What would you know of my ends, elf?
You are a glutton drooling at the sight of a feast. You cannot be trusted.
Of those present, I alone have the training to make use of this. Let me drink, Inquisitor.
You alone? You're not the only mage here.
I have studied the oldest lore. I have delved into mysteries of which you could only dream. Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
What about you, Solus?
No. Do not ask me again.
I would be.
You lead the Inquisition. This is not a risk you can take. I have the best chance of making use of the well for everyone. Let me drink.
You're not concerned about the price? Bound forever to the will of Mythal?
Bound to the will of a dead god? It seems an empty warning. Perhaps a compulsion yet remains. Who can say otherwise? I do not fear it, even so.
Are you sure you want this, Morrigan? We don't know what will happen.
We do not, and yet it must be done. I am ready.
Thoughts?
She is right about only one thing. We should take the power which lies in that well.
If it is truly between you and her, then let her take the risk. Make her help us all.
So many voices. They would be in your head, talking over you. You don't want them.
Enough deliberation. Give me your decision.
If anyone is to use the well, it will be me.
So you will take what little knowledge you can understand and let the rest go to waste?
And who's to say it will go to waste?
I do. I am forever balked by those who believe they know better than I. Drink if you will, for the sake of us all, but steel your will to do it.
Why am I here? Corifeus, a Magister wishes to rip the veil open. I must learn how to stop him. If you can help me vanquish Corifeus, take whatever price you wish.
Inquisitor! Inquisitor! How do you feel?
It is done.
I'm pleased to report we won the battle, Inquisitor. When you went through that mirror, Corifeus and his archdemon fled the field. I'm not sure why.
What he wanted was no longer within the temple.
Perhaps. He spent so long trying to get into the temple, he probably couldn't have helped his forces by that point.
Then Corifeus is finished.
If he is wise, he will hide and rebuild his strength before he attacks again.
He will not.
He won't hide.
You hear it. The well speaks to you.
It's voices, whispering from so far away I can barely hear them.
If only one who understood such voices had used the well's power instead.
Then we'd have to rely on her interpretation of them, and whatever she chose to tell us.
Have I not been forthcoming enough for you, Spy Master? I told you what the well could have done, Inquisitor. You should be hearing shouts from the heavens, not whispers.
Then help me. Isn't that what you came here to do?
Earlier you said you knew what needed to be done next. What did you mean?
The dragon isn't an archdemon. It's a dragon in which Corifeus has invested part of his power. Kill it, and his ability to jump to other bodies is disrupted for a time. He can be killed.
That's no simple task. Corifeus alone is powerful, but where there's dragon...
I need to summon Mythal.
Whatever Mythal was, goddess or myth?
There. An altar in the wilderness. That's where I need to go.
I see you are determined. So be it.
Are you certain of this?
We have no choice. If Corifeus comes here now...
I'll see to Skyhold's defenses in the meantime.